welcome once again to the Anointed Daily Manna. I'm excited about our study as we come to the close and culmination of Jesus' story as recorded by Mark's Gospel. We're inside of Mark chapter number 14. We begin at verse 66. We're going to end at verse 72, and let's go to work in the text. It says, while Peter was below in the courtyard, one of the servant girls of the high priest came by. When she saw Peter warming himself, she looked closely at him. You also were with that Nazarene, Jesus, she said. But he, being Peter, denied it. I don't know or understand what you're talking about, he said, and went out into the entryway. When the servant girl saw him there, she said again to those standing around, this fellow is one of them. Again, he denied it. After a little while, those standing near said to Peter, surely you are one of them, for you are a Galilean. He began to call down curses on himself, and he swore to them, I don't know this man you're talking about. Immediately the rooster crowed the second time. Then Peter remembered the word Jesus had spoken to him, before the rooster crows twice, you would disown me 3 times. And he broke down and wept. I want you to know that whenever I've read this story, to really hear it causes one to have this innate almost sensitivity and want to pull for Peter. Just really want to say, hey man, come on brother, don't do it, don't fall for the okie doke, don't do it. But here Peter found himself being his own enemy. He found himself wanting to know what was going on with Jesus, but did not want to be a part of the activities associated with Jesus at this time. He was still a zealot in mindset, and there's a part of him that did want to see Jesus be the person who would lead, who would then restore Israel back to kingdom status. That was his mindset. And he wanted war. He wanted to do battle. But he found himself in a situation where Jesus was not showing that he was battle ready or that he was a warrior in that context. And so for Jesus at this point to concede and to be taken captive and to be taken and led back to the Sanhedrin council and to find himself being accused and spit on and hit and slapped around, and he not called for the powers and that they all knew he had, meant that Jesus was taking another route towards his assignment. One that Peter was not yet ready for, one that had really caused Peter to struggle. To hear the story to tell us that a young girl who was the servant of the high priest walks around and looks over at Peter and sees something and recognizes him and then begin to accuse him. And in the midst of the accusation, Peter denies it. Second time, he's gone out towards the entryway, because remember, Peter has followed Jesus all the way to where the Sanhedrin were holding Jesus at the time. And in this context, when he gets there, the young lady comes up behind him again and brings some other people with her, and they check him regarding the clarity and the certainty that he really was, quote unquote, with Jesus. But it was in that third occasion when they began to really challenge him and push him that he began to curse. And he brought curses down and curses here and there, swearing that he had no association with Jesus. He at that moment is now saying in his own action and behavior that he was in survival mode. He was no longer relying on Jesus as his strength and support. He was in survival mode. He moved to the only place he could when he felt as if he was without a covering and without a shepherd and without support. When he felt as if he was out there alone, what he did was he behaved as if he had no covering. And when he behaved in that manner, when he did those actions, the rooster began to crow. 3 times he denied the master. 2 times the rooster crowed. And when it came back to Peter, the words Jesus had already said, it crushed him. I need to ask you, what promises have you made to the Lord? What vows have you made to the Lord? What areas in your life have you gone back on your commitment to God? Whatever they are, hear me with love saying, please never put yourself in a position that you cannot fulfill it with God's help. Rely on God to therefore keep the word you give to God and trust that what you say to God, you will be able to bring to pass. All because when you make the commitment, you need to hold on to it. I remember my grandmama singing, I made a vow to the Lord and I won't take it back. I made a vow to the Lord and I won't take it back. And then there was a phrase, it was a holy vow and I won't take it back. It was a holy vow and I won't take it back. Down on my knees I made the vow. Those kinds of mindsets shows covenant and commitment. And when you pledge to do something with God, be committed to not take it back. I love you. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to our sharing tomorrow. God bless.